It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Hey, good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News Podcast. On this Friday, it's actually Good Friday to those that celebrate Christian beliefs. Anyway, welcome to the show, folks. On this, the 18th day of April, 2025, brought to you by Will U.S., the owner of Scooter Round, and by Chillie's Cruises. We are coming to you from Palma de Majorca, an island in the Mediterranean off the coast of Spain. It's been a very pleasant day, but a bit troubling for me, which I'll get to in a second. Do have a number of stories this morning. The lead story today is Carnival to shut down UK operations. Also this morning, MSC cancels cruise from New York. Mobile adds a cruise line. 4 deceased in Naples cable car accident. Heavy snow blocks Alpine resorts. Port plans hull cleaning station. AT&T revamps plan to include cruise ships and ports. Cruise ships stuck in port due to a storm. Disney recycles mooring lines. MSC, a terminal dethroned already. Unbelievable. That and lots more here live at 10 a.m. I announced yesterday, folks, on the makeup show that until the end of this cruise, we're going to do the shows when I do them at 10 a.m. our time at home. So hopefully there are some of you in the audience here today. I'm not in this position that I can go check and see. However, today is Good Friday, and we'll be at sea tomorrow, and then we will spend Easter Sunday in Naples, Italy. This day in history. In 1868, the San Francisco Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals forms. That turned out to be an important day for me. That's one of the areas that I have always been interested in and support. And they're still going today in various forms that started back in 1868. So congratulations to those guys. If you're a podcast person, you can always access the show via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the old fat travel guy. So, all right. So today, I worked pretty much in the morning getting the show together. As you can tell, there's quite a few stories. And that takes some time. But we were in port. However, it was a very early port arrival. As a matter of fact, Hot Air Tom had to report to his station for his excursion today at like 7:15 this morning. He couldn't even go to breakfast. And it was a 4-hour tour. So I did not have an excursion, and I decided that when I got done with my work, had the show basically ready to go, I was going to go ashore and see if there were accessible hop-on, hop-off buses. I know that there are very, very limited accessible taxis here. I'm told that there are a couple. I have not seen them. And I've seen accessible taxis almost everywhere, but I haven't seen any here. The twice that I've been here in the last 10 days. So I went out to, and it was easy to get to the hop on, hop off little station out there. And I talked to the girls. Of course, they had a line of people waiting to get on because just well into the day by the time I got out there. And they explained, told me what the price was. And then she says, "Oh, are you alone?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "You want to go?" And I said, "Yeah." She says, "Okay, it might not be the next bus. You'll have to wait until you get one that's, that is accessible, because there are a couple buses that aren't. And of course, that somebody doesn't already have the space, the wheelchair space." I said, "Yeah, I've done this before. Understand. I'm fine with that." And she says, "Okay, here's your ticket." I said, "How much is it?" She says, "Oh, you're free." I had no idea. So I've always paid before. They let handicapped people go for free on hop off bus tours. I didn't know that. I talked to John Nanick of the North John up in Crookston, Minnesota. And he says, "Oh yeah." He says, "I've done hop on, hop off for years." Christ, I didn't know it. Anyway, so then the problem started. There were a total of 11 buses. Two of them were not wheelchair accessible, so I didn't count them. 9 straight accessible buses in a row. That the wheelchair accessible space was full. And I couldn't complain. Those are the people in my community, out there doing something. That's great. So I figured it's, like a 2-hour tour. So I'm thinking, well, you got a time limit now, because you got, when you get on the bus, you got to figure 2 hours. You got to figure an extra 15 to 20 minutes for traffic. So you got to count for like close to 2.5 hours. And then I said, then you got to figure on a good half an hour to get back to the terminal, to go through security, which was a piece of cake, but still I had blocked time to do that in case they were checking stuff. And then it was a reasonably distant hike out to down the pier to get on the ship. And then get on the ship. And I had to give myself an hour before the show. I wouldn't want to walk in and try to do a show. It wouldn't be fair to you guys that I'm, sweating, out of breath, not ready, So I got up to my time limit. I still couldn't get on the damn bus. So and I've been talking to these 3 lovely ladies. One of them spoke pretty good English. The other 2 were really thin on the English, but they were just delightful. And of course, me, I'm sitting there joking and kidding with them. So I finally said, "Guys, I appreciate everything you've done for me, but I'm running the fear a little time limit. So I'm going to have to pass and do this another day." So they said, "Oh, we're so sorry. I said, "No, it's not your fault. That's terrific. It's your business is that good." So anyway, I didn't get to do my hop on, hop off tour here in Majorca. So I may have to come back someday to do that. One other thing to deal with before we actually get to the news today. Those of you that were on the show yesterday know that Elizabeth on Location is back in her stomping grounds. She's home from the wars in Playa del Carmen. The beach is about 5 minutes from her apartment. She says, "Oh, look," she says, "it has a ramp down in the sand, so you could get in the sand and then get stuck." I said, "Yeah, thanks a lot." Yeah, let's see. This one, she was sitting out on her balcony looking at the clouds, few clouds. And oh my God, she discovered that there are adult beverages back in Playa del Carmen. So, yes, that's Eli on location, back at home on vacay for a while. So, anyway, all right, I got a number of news stories. Thankfully, they're not really long, heavy stories, so it won't be forever getting the show done today. But I'll be back with today's news after a quick break from one of those fine network sponsors that I never know who they are. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, the top story, lead story today comes from our friends at Carnival. Carnival Corporation is taking steps to close down Carnival Cruise Line's UK team and sunset this area of the business in May. The cruising giant is currently having conversations with staff to disclose and discuss potential future opportunities within the wider business. The proposed closure will come into effect on May the 12th of this year. MSC Cruises has canceled the May 11th sailing of the MSC Meraviglia from New York City, citing a mechanical issue that impacts the ship's ability to operate at normal cruising speeds. The 7-night itinerary was set to visit Port Canaveral, Nassau, and Ocean Key. Guests were notified on April 16th and presented with two options: rebook another MSC cruise with added incentives, or receive a full refund. See all of New England on this comprehensive 15-day Grand New England cruise through historic waterways where tales of America's past come to life. From the Mayflower's arrival to the Boston Tea Party, each harbor and shoreline holds stories of American history. Discovered seaport gems such as Portland and Bath, where historic shipyards show their age, and Newport, Rhode Island, where grand mansions reflect the opulence of the Gilded Age. Enjoy a traditional lobster-baked luncheon by Maine's water's edge, tasting the flavors of the region's maritime legacy. This is the Grand New England Cruise from American Cruise Line. Just give me a call, 434-258-9264. American Cruise Line, where small ship cruising is done perfectly. The Alabama Cruise Terminal in Mobile will welcome two separate cruise lines owned by different parent companies next year. The double ship operation will take place in late March 2026. It will combine the cruising giant Carnival Cruise Line with the domestic small ship line American Cruise Lines. Carnival Spirit will dock in Mobile, along with the much smaller American Symphony, which accommodates just 180 passengers. 4 people have died after a mountain cable car plunged to the ground near Naples in southern Italy. Another person was extremely seriously injured in the crash at Mount Fato and airlifted to a hospital, officials said. Italian media outlets reported that the cabin had been near the top of the mountain when one of the cables supporting it snapped. A second cabin was also in the line at the time, but located near the bottom of the valley. 16 people were rescued from it and winched to safety. This is the second such accident for this cable system. The Swiss ski resort of Zermatt was cut off, and tourists and residents were told to stay indoors in the French resort of Tins because of heavy snow in the Alps yesterday. Teens Mayor Siege Reveal said that there was a high risk of avalanches and we had to make a decision to protect people. After more than a meter, that's like 39 inches of snow, was dumped over the town during the day. Although snow is not uncommon in the Alps in April, the disruption left thousands of homes in the Savone region of eastern France without power. In response to the decline in cruise ship visits, the Port of Auckland is considering establishing a hull cleaning station to assist cruise lines in complying with the New Zealand's stringent biofouling regulations. Early stage trials are underway in collaboration with a dive company to evaluate the feasibility of such a facility. Hey travelers planning on a trip to Florida, we've extended our discounts on mobility equipment rentals in Orlando and Kissimmee throughout the spring. Save on scooters, wheelchairs, power chairs, and more. These offers are valid for popular locations like Disney World, Universal Studios, and SeaWorld. Orlando mobility rentals are 15% off until May 31st, 2025. Call Scootaround at 1-888-441-7575. Use SRN 11137 for the best rates. AT&T has revamped their AT&T International Day Pass to include both land and cruise ships for a daily flat fee. The travel package now includes the following: unlimited talk and text on the ship and in port, 500 megabytes a day of data, no data overages, daily flat fee of $20 per day. This will replace existing plans. Guests aboard Royal Princess are experiencing last-minute changes as the ship has remained in Auckland, New Zealand 2 days past her originally scheduled departure. The sailing was to have been a 14-night Trans-Pacific repositioning cruise between Auckland and Honolulu as the ship makes her way to Seattle for the Alaska sailing season. Now, however, the remnants of Tropical Cyclone Tam have had other ideas. The cyclone, while originally centered 1,100 miles east of Brisbane and 600 miles north-northwest of Auckland, has had significant impacts in New Zealand as the remnants have moved south. Because Royal Princess was to head for her first port of call in Pago Pago in America's Samoa, straight into the path of the storm, the cruise line wisely opted to delay departure and wait until conditions improve. Did you ever wonder where coat hangers come from? Disney Cruise Line has implemented a new initiative to minimize waste sent to landfills by fully recycling approximately 225,000 pounds of retired mooring lines from its vessels. Mooring lines, which are routinely replaced every 7 to 10 years to comply with safety requirements, are typically sent to landfills or burned to produce energy at the end of their lifespan. Disney added that it has diverted more than 20 miles of mooring lines to recycle. That's awesome. To recycle the lines, which are made from polypropylene plastic, Disney partnered with vendors that ground the lines into pellets used to make household items like flower pots, buckets, and yes, folks, even your clothes hangers. How about that for a fact today? Just days after MSC Cruises inaugurated what was billed as the world's largest cruise terminal at Port Miami, the crown has already changed hands, and the new title holder
is on the opposite side of the globe. Today, China launched operations at Xiamen International Cruise Terminal 2, marked by the departure of the cruise ship Adora Mediterranea, formerly known as Costa Mediterranea, from the southeastern port city of Xiamen, Fujian province. The ceremony marked not just the start of voyages from the new facility, but the inauguration of what is now the largest cruise terminal in the world by square footage. Pretty impressive, I'd say. Spanning an immense 68,000 square meters on 6 floors above ground and 2 floors underground, Terminal 2 significantly outscales MSC Cruises Terminal AA in Miami, which only measures 45.787 square meters. That's a big facility. Two-thirds. The Miami terminal is only two-thirds the size. Wow. Congratulations to the folks in Xiamen.
Experience Alaska at an affordable rate. VR1 balconies are only $1,289, including taxes and port charges. MSC Poesia sails from Seattle, May 25th, 2026. Book now. Call 434-258-9264 or go to bit.ly/Poesia Alaska 1.
Hey, and that's going to put an end to the news portion of today's show. And this week, well, I don't know if I'll do any news this weekend or not. It's possible. We'll have to wait and see. I know a lot of you guys are going to be out hunting eggs or eating those nasty candy chicken things or whatever it is that you do on Easter. Some of you will be eating lamb. I always like this plain old turkey. So anyway, all right, let's go over in the chat room. See if anybody got up early today and is with us. Let's see. We got let's see. Emma BTC says, good afternoon to everyone. It's one of our ex-folks. Ruth says, all right. Who is telling stories? Yeah, this is Chillie's Cruises. I'm Chillie Falls on a cruise. We do this all the time, Ruth. Thanks for jumping in. Ibrahim's with us again. Good to see you again, my friend. Coda. Wow, here's one I'm going to stumble over. Coda Cadero. Linda. Okay. Welcome aboard, Linda. And there's Steve. Out in Kentucky, Steve says good morning to me and everyone. Always good to have you, Steve. Another X. Boy, we got a lot of people from X today. This is Adam. Whoops, I just went beyond it. Let me back up. Adam Ritchie. Adam Ritchie says hello. There's Hot Air Tom. Hello, everyone from Palma, Majorca. He spelled it with the double L's. I spelled it with the J. It's really strange that a city of this size, and this is has grown to an amazingly big city from when I was here back, 30, 40 years ago. But yeah, it's properly spelled two ways. Majorca, like Hot Air Tom spelled it, with the double L's, or Majorca, and it's pronounced the same. So I don't know of another situation like that. But anyway, there's Gretchen up in Ohio. saying hello to everybody. Joanne's with us. Hello, love. Always good to have you. Bob's here. Bob says, have a great Easter. Going to be nice weather. Good. I hope we get some nice weather. Actually, the weather's improving. It was going to end up being in the 70s here today, in the low 70s. But that was an improvement over yesterday. Even beautiful day we had in Ibiza. It was not as pretty a day today. It was kind of cloudy, overcast. Looked a couple times like it could rain, but it didn't. But it was, I mean, it was comfortable. You know, I have my sweatshirt on. I was comfortable. All day today. I didn't, the 71 or 2 is probably about now. It was going to be later in the afternoon when I was outside. But hopefully we're going to get some good weather now for the next few days. Mike's with us. Good morning, Mike. Good afternoon. Yeah, Mike's on this side of the pond, so he knows the craziness of these hours. So we will be in Naples for Easter. Going on the cable car. Oops, hope it's not the one in the news. I'll tell you what bothers me about that hot air, Tom. I was gonna talk to you about that tonight. I hope it's a different company. Occasionally, something like that happens to one of these cable cars. But to have this exact same thing happen twice to the same cable car company system, that would make me a little shaky. And it is in Naples, just south of, just right outside of Naples. I'm not sure it was south or not. But yeah, I'd be a little shaky about that. And I mean, I've gotten on those things without thinking twice. Just go. Once I got over my fear of them, I'm still a little nervous, but that's what I had to do to learn how to ski. I had to be able to get on the damn lift to get to the top of the hill. So, yeah. And I've been on some in the mountains over here. I have not this trip because of the chair, but in the past, I've gone on some of them really high places. So, anyway, Joanne says, Happy Easter. There's Roger. Roger is on the boat. Will not have phone or email until May the 4th. Okay. Understood, Roger. Have a wonderful time. Gretchen says going to be 80 here in Ohio. Wow, that's awesome. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for this week. Again, thank you all for being with me. Please smash that thumbs up button. That'll help us out a bunch. You guys, especially you guys from X, if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. It does not help. It does not cost you anything. You will be notified when I go live if you hit the bell notification. So you can join us anytime. So we do this regularly on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, unless goofy travel days come up that throw the schedule haywire, like happened this week, or something happens that I get sick or something, and that throws the schedule up in the air too. However, I try to make those shows up like I did yesterday, because Monday's travel day, we were getting on the ship and I had the show ready to go, but I had no equipment because it didn't get here until 7:30 at night before it was in my hands. I think it's Friday of next week is our next travel day. And that will be, I'll have to look at the schedule again. I might have a problem with Friday, but we'll see. I'll review the schedule with my advisor. Sunday we travel. Friday we get off the ship, right? No, I'm on the delayed AM. Anyway, I'll have that figured out by, Monday's show. This weekend, who knows? I'll stay on top of the news in case something major happens. If not, I'll see everybody on Monday at this time at 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. In the meantime, you guys have a wonderful holiday weekend, however you may celebrate. Just have a wonderful time with family and friends. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for today and the week. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising, and hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a great weekend and holiday, y'all. See you next time, or maybe on lives this weekend.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry, so if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chilliescruises.